Blog Talk Radio.
Writing your book is the easy part. Promoting your book so readers can find and purchase it is the hard part. Welcome to the Author Chat Show, hosted by author-publisher Lynda D. Brown. Follow us at www.facebook.com/authorchat. And to contact the show to promote your book, contact me at theauthorchatshow@gmail.com. Stay tuned and listen to today's show.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Author Chat Show. I'm your host, Lynda D. Brown. My guest today is author Lila Holley. Lila is going to be stopping by the Author Chat Show to discuss her new book, Camouflaged Sisters. This is a book about women in the military. So this should be a very exciting show. Now, this is Lila's first time on the show, and we're going to be right back to chat with her about her book after a word from today's sponsor.
How would you like to own your own health and wellness business with celebrities like Shaquille O'Neal, Chris Brown, Snoop Dogg, Jennifer Lopez, UFC fighters Brandon Vera, Houston Alexander, DWTS's Alfonso Ribeiro, singer B. Howard, and MMA fighter Rich Rigmadden promoting your business for you? How would you like to share amazing, great-tasting products with your friends and family and make extra money and get free products? How would you like to earn weekly and monthly bonuses? What about getting your share of equity in this billion-dollar company? For more information, log on to www.whatareyouyoueating.info.
All right. Welcome back to the show. Again, we're meeting with we're going to be chatting with author Lila Holley. She's the author of a new book, Camouflaged Sisters. Now, I live in the St. Louis, Missouri area. There was a young lady from the St. Louis area that served in Iraq. So we're going to dedicate this show to her today. Her name was Lavina Johnson, Lavena Johnson. She died a very mysterious death in Iraq. I'm not going to go into specifics, but if you'd like some information, just hit me up at the authorchatshow@gmail.com, and I'll send you the latest information on the inquiry into Lavinia's death. But we're going to bring on author Lila Holley, and she's going to talk to us about her book, Camouflaged Sisters. Lila, thank you so much, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. And I can hear you fine, sweetheart. You're coming through loud and clear. First, I want to start off by saying thank you so much for putting your life out there and serving our country, protecting our interests. We appreciate you here from the Author Chat Show. We really do.
Thank you so much, Lynda. I appreciate that.
Not a problem. Now, but since this is your first time on the show, why don't we get started before we discuss the book with you telling us a little bit about yourself. You can start with what made you decide to go into the armed services, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Okay. Well, like you said, I served in the military. I served 22 years in the U.S. Army, and I think from a young age, I always had a desire to serve. I watched my great-grandmother serve our community. She was the founder of our home church, and she just did so in such a loving manner. It just really drew me to her, and just to the thought of serving others. I never realized it would be in the military, but nonetheless, when I got to high school, we had a junior ROTC program in our high school, and I jumped right into that class. And I excelled, which was surprising to me because I was a very shy young lady, really nerdy, really into my studies. And although I was the oldest of 6 kids, I didn't realize there was a natural-born leader inside of me. And when I got into that class, it really just came out of me. And so the desire to join the military was very, very strong. I had a child when I was a teenager, so I thought that life situation would derail my opportunity to join the military. But my family was supportive, and I was able to join when my son started school. So at the age of 20, I joined the military, did 22 years, and I loved it so much. Not saying that every day was perfect and that I loved every day, but I loved the experience that it allowed me to have to travel the world, to be able to provide for my family, and just really to grow as a woman, as a leader. You don't know your own strength until you're put in a position to really have to tap into your inner strength. So that's what I really, really enjoyed about it most of all.
Wonderful. And now, Lila, one thing that I really have to give you kudos for is you're also a transitioning veterans coach and the founder of BecomeABattleBuddy.online. Tell us about that.
Yes, ma'am. So after my 22 years of military service, most of my adult life was spent in the military. And if you know anyone who's served in the military, they're just a different type of person, They're different, especially women. Yeah, just especially women. I tell people that jokingly, but they know if they know military people, they know that we're different. And the military makes us that way. And it's not good, bad, or indifferent, but, it does develop the person that you become. So in transition, we go through quite an emotional journey. I knew transition was going to be different. I didn't realize it was going to be so emotional for me. And not only that, when I started to do my research, it's emotional for all of us, but nobody was talking about it. And my heart went out to people who didn't have a strong support system around them. Those single soldiers or, those soldiers who, when they separate from the military, they're not the ideal circumstances for them separating. Maybe they're being put out on a medical discharge or, many of our service members are receiving pink slips now. So those individuals are dealing with some very strong emotions about that process and may or may not have a strong support system around them. Even with my strong support system around me, I still dealt with some strong emotions. And what I realized in the process of that was that my system for processing my emotions was not a healthy one because of my 22 years in the military. Now, I prided myself on being a leader who was calm under pressure, one that my soldiers could come to with a level head in the midst of chaos, be it in garrison, not, back here at home or in a combat area. That's what I prided myself on. That's who I was. And that's who my leaders looked for me to be. And what I discovered in my transition was being that type of person, being that leader who steps on your emotions to accomplish the mission and not really process those emotions. It don't work in transition. It really does not.
Exactly.
Because different behaviors come out of you that affect your life and your relationships, and that's where I found myself. So I had to get help, and that's what I do now with my services. I start the conversation with servicemen.
Wonderful. Now, Lila, did you see actual combat while you were in the military?
I deployed 3 times.
Oh, wow.
My
Where
first
were you
deployment, yes, ma'am. I deployed to Bosnia. That was my first deployment, and that was a peacekeeping mission. I deployed to Iraq for a year, and then I deployed to the Philippines as well.
Okay. Wow. And what inspired you to write Camouflaged Sisters? Tell us a little bit about the book.
Okay, so I wrote my book, Battle Buddy, and that was about my military transition. So to help others kind of with the transition process. And like I said, during my research for that book and just questioning others who had transitioned before me, I found that a lot of people were feeling the same way, and that a lot of people had some amazing stories of, trials that they have been through to enjoy life as a now retiree or a civilian. Excuse me. So I got the idea of wanting to do an anthology or a compilation book, and then so I took it to my publisher. I took it to an author friend, and she said, no one's ever told the story of the Black woman's military experience, and I was like, you know what, you're right. Well, let's go ahead and let's do it. So I took the idea to my publisher, and she flipped out. She was like, this is amazing. This is incredible. Let's do it. Let's do it. So I was like, okay, let's do it. I tapped into my circle, and when my personal mentor came on board, I was like, yes, this is the thing to do. If she has a story that she needs to tell, then I know there are so many more other women out there with stories that need to be heard as well.
Exactly. Wow. Okay. So, again, I mentioned before the start of the show that I live in the St. Louis area, and those of you that listen to the program on a regular basis heard me talk about some of the things that happened 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, with the Michael Brown situation. Now, we also had, and I'm going to keep this kind of brief because I don't want this show to be a downer, but we had a young lady from the St. Louis area. She went to Hazelwood Central High School. Her name was Lavina Johnson, and she was deployed in Iraq, and she died under some very mysterious circumstances. For those that would like more information, just send me an email at theauthorchatshow@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to send you information about this. But my question to you, Lila, is just how dangerous is it for women in the military, and not even in combat, just dealing with those that are actually supposed to be on your side? Did you experience any problems like that?
Well, Lynda, I will tell you, and I explain to people as I go around and speak, is that the military is a reflection of our society. Yeah. So I just want people to remember that and to not forget that. Even though there are some top-notch people in the military, some top performers, some real top-notch citizens. Real ideal citizens. People that we should definitely be proud of. But there are some people in the military who are a reflection of our society. We have laws and regulations in society that govern our behavior. We have laws and regulations in the military that govern our behavior. If it was not necessary, they wouldn't be in place. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there are murderers in the military. There are child abusers in the military. There are men and women who abuse their spouses. There are robbers and there's all types of criminals in the military, and that's why we have UCMJ to govern our behavior.
Exactly.
So if you think women are at risk in the civilian world for rape and violent attacks, we're also at risk in the military as well. We are absolutely at risk. And it's just a shame that the type of, we hold our military at a high esteem in this country, and as we should, because it is a volunteer force, and we do risk our lives. We write a check that is payable with our life, and like I said, I've seen combat, so I know individuals who have given that, ultimate sacrifice. So to raise your hand and to volunteer for a career such as the military and still be put in a situation where you can be a victim of a violent attack, it is disturbing. It is disturbing, and something definitely needs to be done about it. I'm excited that the VA is taking on, the charge of military sexual trauma being a disability that women can be compensated for now. It's unfortunate to still hear the stories, but things are getting done. There are a lot of organizations out there that are bringing our issues to light, and that is a good thing. So just like I said, in society, you have these issues, you're going to have the same issues in the military.
Absolutely. So you still recommend the military for a young lady, and unfortunately, in our culture, there are a lot of young ladies that are so lost, Lila. Do you think the military would be a great place for them to kind of get in there and find out who they really are, just like ROTC did for you in high school?
Yeah, absolutely, Lynda. I like I said, I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I was a little shy, woman who dealt with self-confidence issues, because I was shy. I was, all the issues that our young teenage girls are dealing with today, trying to fit in and trying to find themselves. And not only that, I was a teenage mother on top of that. But when I joined the military, a different woman inside of me just woke up. I'm telling you, a beast came alive. When I was able to graduate from basic training, I just felt so accomplished, and I felt so proud of myself, and I felt so unstoppable. I felt unstoppable, and I was like, man, I got a mission. I had a mission. I had to provide for my son, so I was on a mission. And and I think the military is still a viable option for young ladies today. I came out of the military with a bachelor's degree. My daughter's education is paid for because of my military service. I'm retiree, so I get all those benefits that come with that. I am a disabled veteran, so that comes. That's the price. But I say that being a disabled veteran, I'm still young. I'm still very, very healthy, and I get great care through the VA system. So I'm thankful for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. But I would recommend the military for any young woman who would like to speak to me about my experiences. What I would tell them, though, is to make sure they go in there with a plan, to make sure they stay focused on that plan and get it accomplished, and just enjoy the journey. Because when I was in Hawaii, for instance, I was able to travel to the other islands and really enjoy that experience of living in Hawaii for 3 years, not stay stuck in the house complaining I was far away from family. I enjoyed it. So when would you ever have the opportunity to travel to a place like Hawaii? A young girl growing up in the hood in New York State. You know what I mean? So I really took advantage of that and enjoyed the experience. I met some awesome people. I have some friends for life, some sister friends for life, and just go in with the mission, go in with the plan, stay focused on your plan, and enjoy the journey.
Exactly. And I agree. I'm a member of a wellness group, and I'll talk to you about that a little later, one-on-one. But I can't begin to tell you how surprised I was, and I don't know, maybe. So I'm going to share this with my listening audience. You might be just as a little ignorant as I was. Now listen to this. We had our convention in Kansas City in October. It's a great health and wellness company. We do meal replacement shakes, vitamins, energy, all natural energy drinks, so on and so on. Okay. So they bring on this team of veterans that have made millions with this company. And I'm sitting there going, are you serious? I never would have thought that somebody from the military would be interested in what I'm doing. And as I got a chance to speak to one of the guys that's actually he's one of our upline leaders, a very young man, a very, very knowledgeable young man, like 20-something years old, multimillionaire now, retired from the military, teaching other people how to do this. And so I spoke to him and I said, I never thought about trying to recruit military veterans for this program. He said, Lynda, we're extremely disciplined. He said, when we see a good idea, we know how to stay focused, go for it, and just do the job. And I said, you know what? And I used to work on a military base here in St. Louis. So, I just put that out there to say, even though there are bad things that happen, like you said, everywhere, I have a very close cousin that I grew up with who was just kind of the class clown in school. He went to the military after we graduated. He came out a totally different person, Lila. It was like, who are you? But, he went from somebody that if he had just, went out and found a job, probably, would still be trying to make ends meet. This is a young man that's happily married, still works for, I think he works for our Jefferson Barracks, because he was there when my father passed, who was also a ex-military, and he gave us the flag at the funeral. And he's just so respected, and it's just like it made such a tremendous difference in his life. So I really appreciate the fact that you did write a book, because unfortunately a lot of, we see, just keeping it real, we see African-American men, but we really don't hear the stories of the African-American females that are in the military. So I thank you for writing this book. And again, for those that are listening, the book is called Camouflaged Sisters. You can catch it, I think it's just available currently just in the ebook format. Is that correct?
Oh, no, the paper format is available. Amazon was sold out for a while, but they're now back in stock.
I see that.
And it's also available. Okay. Yeah, it's also available at Barnes & Nobles. In the store, you will have to order it, but on their website, it's available there as well.
I do see that. I do apologize. So the Kindle edition is $2.99. The paperback is $18. And then she also has another book that came out in 2015. It's called Battle Buddy, Maneuvering the Battlefield of Transitioning from the Military. So, again, available in both Kindle and paperback. The Kindle is $5.99, paperback $15.99. I highly recommend that you guys go out and get a copy of this wonderful Christmas gift that I think, again, because just like Lila said, how many of us can actually travel the world and really learn and find out who we are and what's inside of us? And what I really like, Lila, is in your author bio, you talk about how you really had to, as you did the transition back, you had to really rely on your faith. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yes. So in the book, it's broken into 5 different categories, Camouflaged Sisters book. And we touch on faith is one of the chapters, leadership, mentorship, transition, and balance, life-work balance. But, as we came together to put this book together, the one commonality that we all shared was our faith. I know for me, in my 22 years of military service, constantly changing in the military from, like today, they're going through a downsize and getting ready to release 40,000 soldiers out of the U.S. Army within the next 12 to 18 months. Wow. That's change. And we see that often when we are, we ramp up for these wars, these combat operations that we have, and then when they're over, we have to downsize because the military, just like any other business, has to think, the most effective way to keep the force running. So I've seen that in my 22 years of service. I've seen the ebb and the flow and the up and the down and all of that. So I understand that piece of it. But for me, going through all those changes, PCS, and that's a change. My son growing up and moving on out and then getting married, all the changes that I went through, the one thing that was constant for me in my life was my faith and leaning on God and trusting God throughout the course of my military career. Everywhere I went to when I was a single mother in the military, they accept single parents in the Army, but you have to figure things out. You have to figure out how you're going to get the formation on time, how you're going to care for your child, how you're going to make it to work. They don't want to hear that, your babysitter or whoever is responsible for your child while you're at work is not available. They don't want to hear that. You have to have a plan A and a backup plan B, C, and D. So you have to get those things together. But my faith and trusting God to always put the right people around us, and He did. He always put the right people around us everywhere we went to. I'd show up on the installation not knowing anyone, and before the month was out, I'd have a family who adopted us as their own and took us in and really was there for not only me but for my son, So for me, my faith was the one thing that kept me grounded. It allowed me to be reassured that whatever I did throughout my military career, it was God ordained. Wherever I went, God had already prepared that place for me. And because of that, I was able to go throughout my career with a level of confidence that, when promotions came, I know they came from God. Like I said, in my retirement speech, I talked to my audience about, statistically, I'm not supposed to be standing here in front of you. I retired at a high ranking officer, a Chief Warrant Officer 4, For those who are familiar with military rank, that's equivalent to a full bird colonel, a 06 in the military, just under step under a general officer. So for warrant officers, the highest rank you can go is CW5. I was a chief warrant officer 4. So for me, to reach that level of success coming out of, like I said, a hood in New York State, teenage mother, I wasn't supposed to be there. I wasn't supposed to be that girl. You know what I mean? So I know. I told him I'm here because of God, because God placed me everywhere I needed to be. That's right. He placed me everywhere I needed to be. He protected me on all them deployments, all that training, because you hear about soldiers dying in training. He protected me. For 22 years, he protected and kept me because he had a mission for me even after the military. And I always prayed going into my new assignments was, Lord, if, you know, whatever you have me here to do, whatever you have me here to do, allow me to do it to your glory. And if I reach one person, then my job is done, you know.
Absolutely.
And I've always, you know, my soldiers were very, very dear to me, you know. They really were. And I'm still in touch with a lot of them today. So I know it was nothing but God. It was nothing but God.
But God. And this is what this show is about, guys. You know, we talk about a lot of different things here, but our faith, but God, you know, that is awesome. Lila is going to read a short excerpt from her book. Did you find something that you'd like to share with us, Lila?
Yes. This is out of the introduction of the book.
Okay. Go ahead, sweetie.
All right. Okay. Women have made history by showing their strength during challenging times. Oftentimes, it only took one woman to influence a movement or create a world of change for those around her and for generations to come. This strength often comes in times of oppression or as a means of survival. I think of women like Helen, Malala, and even Oprah Winfrey, who broke the mold of normal and created immeasurable opportunities for women today. This act of breaking molds, knocking down limitations, and creating opportunities extends even into the military, where women make up nearly 14.5% of the armed forces. Women like Cathay Williams broke down barriers that prohibited women from enlisting in the armed services, although she had to pose as a man to get into the Army. Once she was in, however, she broke down the stereotypes that women were not capable of serving in the military. Over time, women have proven themselves to be invaluable members of the armed forces. Black women, who have been among the last ethnic and gender group to make significant strides in the military, continue to show themselves worthy of the accolades enjoyed by their male counterparts over the years. So
wonderful.
That's out of our introduction. And then I list a list of ladies who were the first to do many things in their military career. So, yes, this book was really a pleasure to write. It really was.
Oh, I can imagine. How long did it take you guys to finish the book?
We got it done really, really quick. I just went over with Tyshina Davis, our publisher, after we finished everything and did the launch. I said, how long did it actually take us? And she was like, it took y'all about 7 months to pull it together. And I was just shocked. Like 7 months, really? Wow. She said, yeah, about 7 months from the time you came to me with the concept, from the time, pulling the ladies together and getting it done. And, you know, just like you've said, military people are very focused and dedicated. And these ladies had a story to tell. And I will tell you, there's 14 of us that wrote this book together. 11 of those ladies are first-time authors. Wow. So that's incredible for us to pull this book together in 7 months and for them to, I mean, some of these stories, you know, everybody's going to be able to relate to these stories. And even though it's a book written by African-American women with military as our background, any woman can relate to going through transitions in her military, in her career in general. I talk about climbing the rank structure and the lack of leadership or the lack of mentorship by other women, black women who look like me as I climbed up the rank structure. They're not there. Any woman can relate to that. As they climb the corporate ladder, the lack of women at the top to really mentor them and just be there for them, any woman can relate to that. Leadership, women in leadership, that's a big topic these days. Women make great leaders, and we don't get recognized for that as great leaders. Look at military history. Who do you always hear about? Those male generals And yeah, they've done a great job, but there's a lot of women leaders out there who have done just as well, and they don't get recognized for that. Balance. Every single woman can relate to balance in life and career. Being a wife, a mother, and all the hats that we wear. Every woman can relate to that. And we already talked about faith, and then mentorship. Mentorship was a big deal for all of us writing this book, and each one of us address it at the end of our chapter. Our experiences with mentorship and how it molded us. So I think for women, because especially Black women, we've always been, it seemed like we've been taught to compete against each other, so much so that we don't even consider mentorship. And I feel that is sad. It is very sad. And I made a statement that if one of us is successful, then it's a success for all of us. These women in the military, even today, who are doing the first of whatever they're doing, they're opening a doorway for all the generations to come behind them, just like the actresses. The first one to get the Oscar, the first one to do this, the first one to do that. They've opened the doors for all of the ones coming behind them to be able to do now. It's not about competition. It's about building each other up and bringing the other ones along with you. So hope that
I agree with you 100%. No, you're 100% correct. Lila, I have truly enjoyed chatting with you. Before I let you go, tell my listeners how they can connect with you online.
Okay. Well, you mentioned my website earlier, becomeabattlebuddy.online. That's http:// becomeabattlebuddy.online. That is my website. I am creating a online community for service members, those who are preparing to transition, and veterans, and people who service us, our population. If you provide a service, if you're an HR specialist and you specialize in writing resumes and interview techniques and things like that, check out the website, become a member. It's free to join, and then connect with me and do some guest blogging on the site and really interact with people who need your services. That's what the community is for. Yes. And then I am on Facebook, Lila Holley, and then I am on Twitter as Coach Lila Holley, and as well as Periscope. So that's where I'm at.
All right. I love it. And again, you can learn more at www.lilaholley.com, which probably has more information about your books there. Lila, I will be definitely coming on to your website and posting that information for anybody interested in starting their own business, because, we won't even talk about the obesity level, especially our community.
Oh, yes.
I know. And let me just say this, and let me say this online, too, because another place we're trying to hit with the health and wellness businesses, the churches, because you're a beautiful gospel singer, but 300-400 pounds, that's not good.
Yes.
You're helping the devil take you out before God can really use you. So, and you're talking from somebody that was I was 270, almost 300 pounds. The largest I've ever been, when my girlfriend came and introduced me to this program. And so now I'm taking it off very healthy, very pleased with the results. And I just think it's a great thing for, like you said, you guys are very disciplined. You like to stay in shape. And it's not a lot of job opportunities out there. Are you finding that a lot of the people that are transitioning back into public life are having problems finding jobs, Lila?
What I'm finding that they seem to be a little overwhelmed with the process, number one.
Right.
And they just want something. A lot of them, they don't seem to have clear direction of where they want to go.
Yeah.
So you're right. A lot of veterans do become entrepreneurs or business owners because a lot of them go back to school, just because we're older, and it's hard for us to. I know for me, can only speak for me. It was. Sometimes it's hard to deal with people and foolishness. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. and again, one thing we do on this show is we keep it real, and think about it. You come out, you've served your country. You come out, you get a job, you got to do a resume, you got to do things that you probably, like you said, 22 years in the military. You haven't looked for a job, but now you got all this new stuff out here. What do you mean I need to have a social media to find a job? I have to have a resume. Now I was talking to a friend of mine. There's this one company that she's interviewing for, and they're having her come in like for 3 or 4 different interviews. It's like, really?
Yeah.
So it is
that's what they're dealing with as well. Even veterans, with all the experience and background that they bring, are having to do 3 or 4 different interviews, sit before a panel. It's it's very competitive out there. So if you can create your own way, then hey, that's the way to go. That's and create it and create your own way by owning your own business and still making a living for your family. Then that's a great opportunity. That's a great route to take.
Absolutely. And as we remind those that are listening, because a lot of our listeners are authors as well, when you're an author, guess what? You're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur.
That's right.
Because now you've created a product, and now it's up to you to get to market that product, to get it into the hands of people, and to don't just stop at one. You have to. You're only as good as your last product that you created.
That's right.
So absolutely, Lila, it has been It's wonderful to have you on the show. This has been one of my favorite interviews.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed myself.
Absolutely. And you are with a wonderful publishing company. I love Tashina Davis and her company. Her company, for those of you that might be looking for a publisher, Purposely Creative Publishing. Not only does she send me her authors so that we can promote their books, but I don't know if you've had a chance to work with, and I just love her. She's our Author Chat social media specialist, Miss Kimya Scott. She's wonderful to show you how to get your product out there into the marketplace. She's connected to Purposely Creative Publishing Group. This is a great place if you're looking to publish your book. You want to contact this company. Again, just send me an email at theauthorchatshow@gmail.com, and I'll get you in contact with them. And, Lila, I wish you and the ladies that wrote the book the best. I'd like to get you guys back on maybe sometime this summer just to see where we are with the book, and I'll talk to Ty and Shani about that. Just have you guys come on, maybe a couple of you, so you can tell us a little bit, maybe have them each tell a little bit of their story that's in the book. I think that would be very beneficial.
Yeah, that'd be great. And we're going to be traveling. I'm traveling to Keesler Air Force Base on Monday to do a book signing. We have a lot of different locations we'll be traveling to throughout 2016 and connecting with a lot of the women who have been supporting us on this journey. So we're really excited about that. So the summertime will be great to catch up with us and see where we are with that. So,
great. And if you guys get anything in the St. Louis area, you make sure you contact me. Again, just
I sure will.
At gmail.com, so we can blow you up and then maybe come out and actually do a show from there. We do our shows on location as well. Absolutely. Well, listen, sweetheart, you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and your books. And for any of you veterans that are having, or if you know a veteran that might be having some difficulty transitioning, contact Lila. Again, you can reach her at becomeabattlebuddy.online, or you can reach her at www.lilaholley.com, because I'm sure with the internet, distance is not a problem, is it?
No, no.
Exactly. Wow. Well, we wish you the best, sweetheart, and thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your information with us. Okay.
Thank
enjoy
you so
your
much,
Sunday.
Lynda. I really appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anytime,
too.
Sweetheart. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. That was author Lila Holley. And, again, the title of her book is Camouflaged Sisters. Again, the book is available on Amazon, BarnesandNobles.com, anywhere where books are sold, basically, like she said, and you can get it in the paperback book. You can get the books or in the Kindle or Nook format. She does, again, have 2 books out there. And I love her Author Chat picture, and I mean her Amazon picture. If I had saw this before the show, I would have put it on my Blog Talk player. She kind of looks, she reminds me, and I meant to tell her this, she reminds me of, her picture looks a little bit like the actress Regina King. So, Regina King, if you're listening, if you're looking for a new movie project, you might want to contact Lila Holley. I think that her books would make a wonderful movie. So that's our show for today. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you guys back here. Oh, if I don't believe I have a show before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to all, Happy Holidays to all my listeners, and we will be back on later in the month. I think we have a Wednesday show. And then we'll go right into 2016. So if I miss you, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we'll catch you back here in 2016. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Bye-bye.